You are listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast, hosted by Leah Brueggemann and Katherine Johnson.
We are bringing you conversations about topics you might feel strongly about but are too afraid to begin. How we navigate entrepreneurship as a wife and a mom without losing ourselves in either identity. We want to open the conversation on how we continue to grow in our faith while pursuing our passions. How strong communities of women help us to grow personally and ways to foster them. And taboo subjects no one wants to bring up.
Don't need to be a business owner, a wife, or a mom to come join us. All you have to have is a desire for discussions that scratch deeper than the surface. I cannot believe that it's 2021. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
Everyone says that 2020 was the year that never ends. You've probably seen that joke that someone's watching for the New Year's, like January 1st, and it goes, December, what is it? Is it 30th or 31st? December 30th. It is 11:59. And then it goes 11:60.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Yep, I saw that.
But I honestly feel like 2020 went by so fast. So fast.
Yeah. I think the same thing. I don't know if it's because like you and I both have had little kids and they grow up really fast throughout 2020,
That's
like their babyhood has been through 2020. I don't know if that's part of it, but I feel the same way. I feel like this year has just flown by and I'm like, oh, it's Christmas again. How did that happen? And now January, what?
I know. It's so crazy to me. So anyways, of course, New Year's resolutions are a really, really big thing. And I would say, I don't know, I'm just going to put a random number on this, so don't quote me on it, but I feel like 95% of people don't follow through with their resolutions.
Yeah, I think that's probably not super far off, honestly.
And I think there's a reason for that. I am not a mindset coach, so don't come for me, but I think that we pick really huge resolutions that are very untangible, like for lack of a better word. Like, I want to lose weight. That's not specific, or I want to have more time, or I want to make more money, or I want to read more. Well, how are you going to do that? And how are you going to track it? So I think that you should have a process for setting your New Year's resolutions. And I have a process and Katherine has a process. So we thought we would just kind of walk you through and you can take what you like and trash what you don't like and make your own resolutions. So the first thing that I do, and I learned this from Bob Heilig actually, and it is write down all of your wins from the previous year. So for 2020. So I wrote down everything that I would count as a win, no matter how big or how small. So, I became a mom, I started my business, we moved, I became more confident. Like that's literally what, I read more books or whatever it is. I spent more time outside, whatever your wins are, and they don't have to be big. Like you had a kid, like that's, I feel like a really big one that you work on for 9 months. So, it can literally just be, you are eating healthier, or you read a book that you've been wanting to read for a while, or you consistently vacuum your rugs once a week. Like, I don't know what your wins are, but
hey, that is a win.
I know. I'm not going to tell you how often I vacuum. It's not very often. But that's what I start with. I start with my wins. And then I transition into not really writing down my ideal day, but like, where do I see myself, I guess, in 5 years, or where I would want to see myself. And I choose bigger, like farther apart years. Like I don't say in 1 year, because typically you have bigger goals and sometimes the idea of reaching that in 1 year is unfathomable to you. So it's just setting them for 5 years and then, surprise yourself. But that's what I start with. So then I will be like, okay, what is my 5-year goal? Where do I want to be? And then what's going to get me there? So let's say I'm just gonna like, I have no idea. I'm trying to think of something without getting super crazy here when it comes to my 5-year goal. Um, So one of my 5 years goals is something I have a goal in my business, and I want to have a team underneath me so that I can have I can have more time for me, and my kids and my family. But in order to do that, I need to have a team. So that means my business needs to reach a certain level. That is one of my 5-year goals. And so who do I need to be in order to hire a team? Who do I need to be, to have that level of a business? And I, thought about it. I need to set better boundaries. I need to set more boundaries around my time, and more boundaries with people. So, not always being readily available, making sure that, I'm consistent with the things I need to do. And so one of my New Year's resolutions is to put my phone away before I go to bed and read a book, because I'm setting that boundary that, and I'm going to pick a specific time, turn my phone on airplane mode so I don't get notifications. And if I want to educate myself, I know that sounds funny because you don't use your phone to educate, but I'm sorry, Google Chrome is great. I use that to look up stuff all the time, especially like if I'm nursing or something like that. So my goal is phone goes off, goes on airplane mode, so it's not a distraction, and I read a book. I'm going to read a book before I go to bed, because that's cultivating my habit of setting boundaries. So
I love that.
That's a beginning of my process. Like, what do you kind of do, Catherine?
First of all, I love that. That's awesome. And funnily, mine's pretty similar actually. And guys, we actually did not talk about this beforehand.
We didn't.
But it's pretty similar. I tend to also look at like all the things that I loved about the year and like what went well in the year and what am I like proud of that I already accomplished. So like these are like small things, but like something that was small that I accomplished this year was like, I don't look at my phone first thing in the morning. Like I have it on not just like don't disturb. So airplane mode, don't disturb, whatever. And I do not, like I might look at the time because I do use my phone as an alarm. So the alarm will go off, but like I don't hit the dismiss button to open up my phone so I see notifications until I have gotten up, said my morning prayers, done my spiritual reading, had my cup of coffee, had my like morning routine me time before I look at my phone. Because if I see a notification on my phone, it's super easy to just open it and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to respond to this real quick. Or, oh, this Instagram notification popped up. Then you find yourself like scrolling and looking at stories. And then before you know it, like half an hour has gone by and you are still in bed. And now you have to get your kid who's awake. So that was a win that I was really proud of this year, was like, I don't look at my phone until I have done my morning routine. And
that
then
is
I allow myself.
A little win. You said that was a little win. That is a huge win. I have started and stopped that so many times because I don't have a consistent plan. Yeah. So I feel like maybe do not disturb would be a good idea. My thing is Seb always leaves for work in the morning. So just in case he needs something, I don't want to have my phone on silent from his notification. So maybe I just need to put do not disturb on or something, except for somebody's number.
Yeah, I was going to say, Brendan leaves early for work too. So if on do not disturb, you can set it so that like your emergency call could be like your husband. So if he needs something, like he will get to you, but otherwise you don't have any notifications because it's distracting. So
problem solved.
It probably is a bigger win than I think it is. But to me, it's like, I guess the act of setting that do not disturb is little, but like the repercussions are big.
Yes.
Because like it has brought me so much clarity to my day. Like having that time of no distractions in the morning and just time with God and quiet time. And I am able to have like a hot cup of coffee before Seth is awake. Like that's a
And
huge win. And that sets the tone for the rest of my day.
probably
So
peace too, honestly,
yeah.
because that I'm telling you, I'll tell you guys, this is why I say it's a huge win. I struggle with this because I will open my phone or do something and then I'm answering a client or
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting out fires before I've even like poured into me. And so then I start
Right.
my day with my cortisol levels elevated. No, but seriously.
Yep. No, it's true though. It's very important to give yourself some time in the morning, that peace, like you said, like fill yourself up before you allow yourself to help others,
Yeah,
whether that's clients or whether that's your kid or whoever that is, unless it's an emergency. So
it's true. Yep.
yeah. So that's helped a ton. And then this really is like a small thing, but again, the repercussions have been really good is I have a glass of lemon water before I have my coffee. So that's like the first thing that I have. And on the days, there have been, of course, I'm not perfect. So there are a couple days where I didn't do it, but overall this year I have. But on those few days I didn't do it, I noticed like a huge difference in my energy levels and just like how I felt as a whole. Honestly, I just feel like, I want to say like cleaner when I've had my lemon water. I don't
Yes.
know. It's like, I just feel like squeaky clean.
My inner hormone coach is coming out, but I love that because your liver and kidneys, they're flushing out at nighttime. You need to rehydrate them in the morning. So
Yeah.
I love that. That's such a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah. So those were like two examples that like were wins for me for the year. And so those are, things I want to continue doing. Habits take time, and those are now habits of mine. So I, will continue to do those. But then I start to think of like, okay, those are things that help my day go really, really well. So what are other things that I need to be doing, or that like basically, yeah, what I need to be doing to help my day go well as well. I don't look at it, I guess, necessarily on a huge big picture level. It's more just like day to day, because I'm really trying to work on being present in each moment because I
Yeah.
am naturally a very like, oh, let's just skip ahead to this exciting thing that's happening in my life. So I'm trying to like be more present. That's just part of my resolution. But that's all tied together. But yeah, just looking at the wins and then looking at what is going to help me each day just have better days. So what can I do more of? And for me, I mean, we'll get into like all the specifics probably, of ours individually, but that's kind of the next thing I look at is like, all right, well, what else is going to help me have like good days and make me feel like, okay, today was like successful.
Yeah.
And those are the kind of resolutions that I want to come up with, is what's going to help my days go better for me being a wife, me being a mom, me being a good friend, etc.
Yeah. I really love that. And I love the resolution of being more present because I feel like all of my resolutions are similar but different. They're very
Yeah.
much like boundaries so that I don't feel so pressured and I also can be more present. But
Yeah.
it's I mean, I struggle with being present, but I struggle because I don't set boundaries. And
Yeah.
so I think that really goes very well into um, being very specific about what we're wanting. Like you say,
Mm-hmm.
I could say I want to be more present, but
Yeah.
like that's not my issue. My issue is setting boundaries, like whether, now I'm going to put on do not disturb now that I know I can pick a
Yeah.
specific person to not be on do not disturb. But like giving yourself little very specific things
Yeah.
like I said, I'm going to turn my phone off and, I'm going to do that an hour before I go to bed. And
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be reading, take a bath, do whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and be very consistent about that. But I have to put it on airplane mode or do not disturb because I'm telling you guys, and I'm sure you all can relate. Like, you see one notification and it's like, and it's an endorphin release or something, or you're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I'm needed. Oh, I need to answer this. And it's like, you know what? It's gonna be okay. If it's an emergency, they'll be able to get a hold of you because they're your emergency contact. But if it's not an emergency, it will be okay until
Yep.
tomorrow.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I love how actually for both of us, this is a good example of, like you said, like you have to be specific. You can't just be vaguely like, oh, I'm going to be more present, because there's no tangible way of like measuring that. If you just tell
Yes.
yourself, I'm going to be more present in 2021. So for you, like our resolution could be the same if we kept it vague like that. I'm going to be more present. But for
Mm-hmm.
you, you have to specify that and say, okay, it's boundaries. And
Mm-hmm.
what does that look like for me? For me, it's I guess it's kind of boundaries, but it's more boundaries in my own self, in my own head, because
Mm-hmm.
I, like I said, tend to just like look forward to whatever like exciting thing is happening instead of just like finding the excitement and like joy in every day. Not that I'm like not finding the joy in every day, but it's just,
Yeah.
it's easy to be like, okay, I'm having a good time right now, but I can't wait till this thing is going to happen. And instead of like
Yeah.
looking so forward to like a week in advance or months in advance or whatever, like just being present in the moment. And for me, that's also looked like when I am like being mom playing with Seth, like leaving my phone in the other room. I don't look at my phone because again, it is a huge distraction. I'm the same way. You see a
Mm-hmm.
notification and you're like, yes, this is so exciting, or someone needs me or whatever. And then you just end up like getting distracted and scattered. So you need like tangible ways of measuring your resolution, or else it honestly probably just won't happen because it's
Yeah.
too vague. Like you need some quantifiable means of measuring your progress. Just like losing weight, like you said, as an
Yeah.
example earlier, you can't just be like, I'm going to lose weight. Okay, that's great. But you need like some sort of quantifiable means. So like I'm going to work out 4 days a week on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah.
Or like I want to lose this many pounds, so these are the steps that I need to do that.
Yeah, I think the finding the little goals along the way, like you want to lose this much weight. Okay, you want to
Mm-hmm.
lose that this year. Great. So what is a reasonable amount you could lose per month? So how would you
Mm-hmm.
check mark your progress week by week? How are you going to do that? How are you going to check in? Get to the root issue of, why you gained the weight, why you need to lose it, so you can
Mm-hmm.
backtrack that. But it's so easy. It's so easy to just say, I'm gonna read more,
Yeah.
I do want to read more. That's one of,
Mm-hmm.
my goals. But that way, by me saying I'm going to turn off my phone and read at nighttime, I'm giving myself a very specific time I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make a list. And
Mm-hmm.
those are the books I'm going to work through, instead of just being like, oh, I want to read more, like
Yeah.
this way I can go, hey, you're halfway through your list by July. Good for you. Keep going. So,
Yeah. That's awesome. And then that gives you a little bit of like a dopamine rush, because you're like, yay, I'm actually doing what I said I was going to do. And you actually have, like I said, a quantifiable way of measuring that.
yeah.
Yeah, reading more is also one of my 2021 resolutions. I used to be such an avid reader and I've kind of slacked off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, my way of having an actual measurable means of that is my best friend and I are actually going to keep each other accountable. So if you need an like accountability buddy, then find one
Yeah.
because that helps a lot. And then we're not reading the same books, but we're going to read 18 books this year. So that means that each, like, it'll go every other month. So like 1 month I could read 2 books, the next month I could just read 1 book, and then it's going to keep going on and off like that. And we're going to come up with our titles and then share them with each other so that we can keep each other accountable, like I said, because I love reading. I love it. It makes me so much happy. I love to learn. I love like nonfiction books. I love biographies, but like I said, I just kind of slacked off. So, okay, biographies. This is the biography I'm reading right now. It's like,
Nobody saw my face there.
yeah,
Catherine said biographies, and I was like, ugh, why do you want to read that?
but they're fun. Well, I think it's fun. It's fine. I'm not reading like a biography on like Alexander the Great, but like,
Okay. Okay.
like, what am I trying to say? People who are in our current times, contemporary. That's what I want to look for. Contemporary people.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a little more fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a good.
Yeah.
I honestly, I need to go through all of my screenshots on my phone because every time I see someone recommend a book, I screenshot it. I'm like, oh, that looks really good. They're all still screenshots on my phone.
Hey, well, that's a good way though of like coming up with the list. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
No.
an Amazon wish list. Like, I mean, I have books currently in my shelf that like I
Hmm.
haven't read yet that I know I want to read, but I also keep an Amazon like wish list of books that I have been recommended, or yeah, I saw in someone's story and I've screenshotted, and then I like try and add them right away to that list because otherwise I'll forget or they'll be lost in my million photos of Seth. So
I have that problem too. I really, really love that. Um, Something else that I'm doing, and I have a very real way of going about it is I always listen to music on my phone in the morning. I always listen to music, and that's how Landon and I get ready. And obviously, having my phone, even though it's playing the music, like having it around is just, again, an issue with boundaries. And so I have a Bluetooth, like little mini speaker that I have that's going to be hooked up. So I can just turn on the music and it'll be connected to the Bluetooth speaker, and I can take that around with me or wherever I am, and my phone can stay somewhere else. So then
that's a
it's not
really
a
good idea.
distraction. And I picked that very specifically because it's something I can do to help me. It's not just like, I don't want to be on my phone in the morning. It's you're going to take the Bluetooth speaker because I listen to music. Like that's a
Hmm.
real thing that we do. And so this way we can still listen to our music, but the distraction's not going to be there.
I love that. That's such a good idea because then you can, yeah, keep doing what you love doing and that's a part of your routine without, you can just remove the distraction. I love that.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea. I like
But
it.
yeah. One step at a time, one step at a
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other resolutions do you have?
Let me think. I did the reading one. I did the being more present in the moment one. Honestly, I probably need to think a little bit more.
No,
Because
I'm
like
with
in
you.
my I there's like those are like the personal life ones, but like I do have business goals, but that's going to take a lot of planning and I haven't done that yet. So that is coming for me, but that's really something I need to sit and like mark off on my calendar. Oh, actually, that reminds me, marking off my calendar. This is a resolution. I am going to, in my business and personal life, time block my calendar. And I actually use Google Calendar on my phone
Yes.
because I love it. And it does, like, I do like that for the notifications actually on my phone because that's such a good reminder whenever I need to do whatever, or move on to the next thing, or, whatever's coming up, and it just
Mm-hmm.
pops up. So that's something that I forgot to write down, but that is something that I'm going to do is time block my calendar in my personal life and in my business. And like, the key to that for me is going to be keep it flexible enough just because like, I am a mom as well and
Yes.
kids do not necessarily stick by your lovely, perfectly color coded schedule. But yeah, that's a resolution and a goal for me for 2021 is get all that time blocked. And I'm really excited to do that actually.
Yeah, I feel like business goals and resolutions would be a whole podcast for
Yeah.
another time to talk about how you do that with your other, your mom life.
Mm-hmm.
But I used Google Calendar and I planned out my business year all of 2021, January to December, and it's beautiful. It's
Oh,
even
that's
color
awesome.
coded. I didn't do it, actually. I hired that out. I was like, can someone else? Because it's hard to figure
Yeah.
out where all the things go, and you get very involved in the business aspect. Um, but I have one other thing that is one of my resolutions. And again, it doesn't really go to boundaries, but I feel like all of mine are around boundaries. So, but it's more on like my mindset because I know that this gives me a better day. And I know that a better day is going to make me a better mom and a better wife. And that is getting outside. And so it's
Yes.
so easy when it's cold to not go outside, not bundle up Landon, not do anything. So My resolution is, unless it's raining, okay, I'm giving myself that.
Yeah.
Unless it's raining, we have to get outside for at least 10 minutes. So
I love that.
not crazy,
Yep.
not, like, oh, you have to go outside and play. It's just, I have to go outside for at least 10 minutes. Like, even if Landon's on his nap time, it doesn't matter. Like, if it's too cold for him, I can just go out there and stand. I don't have to walk, anything. I
Yep.
just want to get outside because the fresh air, the
Mm-hmm.
nature, all of that, just, oh, there's just so something about uplifting about it and resetting. And it's so easy for me to get caught up in my day and then we never make it outside.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I love that. That's so good and so true. Like, it's especially when you have a kid. I don't know why that is it's just a hassle to like bundle them up.
it
And it takes a
is.
while and they fight you because there's layers and they don't like it, but they love it as soon as you take them outside. So it's so easy to be like, oh, it's such a chore. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then you don't go outside all day. But yeah, I love that. That's something that I think I'm going to have to do too and write down as part of mine. Cause I'm pretty good about that right now. Um, I mean, Seth will like bang on the door anyway until I take him out. So he keeps me like on my toes and like, hey, mom, we're going outside, whether you like it or not. But that's something in the wintertime that's going to be, I know it's going to get harder to do and like tell
Yeah.
myself, nope, get over it. Like just bundle up and go outside. It's fine. Again, yeah, unless it's like raining or we get a lot of like ice storms here. So unless that's
Yeah.
going on, then we're not going to go outside. But
Yeah.
yeah, even just like for 10, 15 minutes, doesn't have to be anything crazy, but that does help a lot with like cleansing your whole mind. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, do you have any other tips for New Year's resolutions or thoughts?
No, I think we covered it. It's for me, I think the biggest thing is just like keep it tangible, keep it something that you can actually have like a quantifiable way of measuring, because otherwise it's just too vague and it's too hard to keep up with.
Yeah. I love
But
that.
yeah,
All
if
right.
you guys like have any other suggestions or have any other tips of how you go about it that you want to share, like totally share them with us. We'd love to hear. And let us know what your resolutions are for 2021.
Thank you for listening to the Just Between Us Women podcast. You can find us on Instagram at Just Between Us Women podcast, and we absolutely would love to hear from you.
If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend and be sure to share it to your Instagram story and tag us so we can see.
You can expect episodes every Tuesday.